people, we are at episode 8.
Ocho, I did it before you even asked me. I know Ocho
That's the
because of
only one you
Ocho
know.
Cinco and Ocho Cinco. What is going on? We're gonna start calling you guys something pretty soon. Because we're getting a tremendous amount of love. Thank you. YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, we're getting great feedback. Go, what is it called? Subscribe,
like, comment, share. He's not used to that. That's my part. But yeah,
write reviews too. Tell us what you think on there, because I'm starting to read that. I'm reading a lot of them on Spotify, and Buzzsprout is giving me some whatever.
gotcha. Some analytics.
Yeah, it is, man. So thank you wherever you are in this world, because we international, baby. We international.
We're gonna fly international too.
We are. I'm fired up about that, right? So good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you're listening to this too, if it's on a replay. Again, we are the Alpha Mentality Podcast, where we help you have an alpha mentality. It's kind of in the word, right?
Yeah, it's right off the tongue, guys.
Right off the tongue. Alpha mentality.
Ooh, that was good.
All right. So, partner. So we are episode 8. We've had a few brush ups, few conversations with people. There's a lot of people I'm getting ready to shout out here in a little bit. Some people who, they're really good at reposting and sharing.
Yeah, we appreciate
so much for that. But just jumping right into it today, probably the holy grail of all business books is going to be our topic today. And we're gonna deep dive into a portion of that. And have you ever heard of this guy named Napoleon Hill?
I have.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So you'll know that we'll be talking about Think and Grow Rich today.
Can I tell you a secret?
Sure.
I haven't read the book.
Oh, gosh. So just for everybody that's an aspiring entrepreneur and or a wantrepreneur in this case. No, I'm kidding. So you really haven't read Think and Grow Rich?
I haven't. No, the Napoleon Hill book I read was actually Outwitting the Devil.
That is my all-time favorite book.
Yeah, that one really smacked me across the face. But no, I haven't read Think and Grow Rich. It's probably the next book I'm going to read.
So 3 Feet from Gold, you never heard of that?
I actually have heard of that, but in terms of the actual book-wise, if that's from that book, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so
okay.
Yeah, that's where that comes from. So there's a lot of what we now know. The Think and Grow Rich is derived from Napoleon Hill, who basically, I'm not going to get into the whole context of the book, but I'm going to get into what we're going to talk about today because it's a pretty heavy read. There's 20 different versions of Think and Grow Rich.
Yeah.
But the exact one we're going to be talking about today are what we will call the success steps. Man, I can't say success steps. Success steps. Say it with me 6 times fast.
Sex.
Right. So this sets you up for success, obviously. And there is a remedy or a formula to success. So, as you know, we've been covering topics in terms of mindset, approaches, technique. Mm-hmm. Skill sets to acquire.
So much value. In 8 you really think about it, 7 episodes, we've jam-packed it for you guys with stuff that you could use for months right now.
Absolutely. So before we jump into that, let's give a lit. I think it's time to catch the audience back up. What do you think?
Let's do it.
Let's reintroduce.
Recap.
Let's reintroduce some of your credentials so far that gives you the validation to speak on topics of mindset or entrepreneurship or the discussions that we typically have. So your background is?
I was actually in the field of education, right? So I have my BA, I have my master's, believe it or not, in coaching. Pretty cool.
I didn't know that. In coaching?
In coaching.
Dang.
Yeah.
This dude is a triple threat, man.
Actually, it's crazy. When I found that program, I was like, oh, sign me up. It didn't even feel like a master's program. It was done in a year. It just flew by.
Really?
Yeah, my master's paper was 92 pages. I wrote a book.
Oh my goodness. This guy writes books too. Okay, now you know why we have a podcast.
Yeah. So I coached high school basketball for 8 years. I taught special education for 4. I own a dog training business with my wife that's been going on for the past 1.5, 2 years now.
And you started that during the pandemic, right?
We started that during the pandemic. It was kind of one of those things where everyone wanted to get a puppy because they were at home, but didn't know how to have a puppy. So it blew up our business.
They didn't want to make babies, but they wanted to buy dogs.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
crazy.
Thinking it's any different. Same thing. But yeah, no. That then left teaching. Felt stuck sometime in December. Ended up leaving that. My wife was in the financial industry. She was making more money than me, and with one family than I was in a whole month. So I knew something was wrong. So then I left, jumped ships into that. So now me and my wife are financial professionals. We have a doctoring business. We're making our own life. I love it.
I like that. I like that. I like that a lot because there's a lot of up and down, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, any entrepreneur kind of knows that. But to be honest, I'll take the freedom of choice to write my own ship.
Oh, so from the last episode, changes and choices. I like
Ah,
it. I
yeah.
like
You see how
You see
we
how we
bridged
did
that
that?
right there.
Yeah, we meant to do that, by the way.
No, we
We have
didn't.
like a teleprompter. It's like right there. No, I'm just kidding. I couldn't even see that far, to be honest. So, so these success steps are, believe it or not, they're in all of the roles in which you've done, and they're in the roles of most of success that you have, whether you are able to see it or not. And I think I'm going to be the person that's going to hold you to the fire today.
You know, I'm really excited because these success tips, since I've never read the book, I don't know about it. So this is going to be a genuine conversation. You just said you kind of fit each one. So hit me, man.
Well, what's going to be cooler is I think that where you can concentrate your efforts on something is where your results are going to come from.
Mhm.
So today, you may have had the success that you've had early on accident.
I believe so because one thing I know I'm going to do is read this book now.
Let me tell you something. So if you've ever attempted to read the Bible, it is a very boring read your first time because you just need tons of interpretation. I would think that our audience, the people who have read Think and Grow Rich, you're probably going to agree because some of those analogies and some of the usage of how to accomplish something is a little outdated. But don't worry. Today we're going to catch you up on. I know will absolutely be the most vital part of that book, and is going to be able to set some people free. So let's jump into the success steps of Think and Grow Rich. I am going to strongly encourage. Mental notes probably won't suffice on this one.
They probably won't.
They really won't. And here's the reason why: is because I was taught this by many mentors of mine, and now I teach this to a couple people, who are willing to listen. And here's what I can tell you: I've never heard of a story of this not working. I've never heard.
It's powerful.
I've never heard of it because it's very simple. It's pretty core, and it's all meat potato. It ain't no appetizer. It ain't no dessert. It is just straight. You get to it. This is what's gonna happen. So
let's do it. Let's blow up the business.
6 steps. Did you know that? It's 6 steps. So write that down. There's 6 steps that you got to focus on. And again, we hope to be able to provide the best amount of value. Agree or disagree. All right. If you've got different experiences, we want you to be able to share that in the comments below. Or if you're listening to this, as you may, respond to some of our social media platforms. So let's take a trip down Think and Grow Rich lane and the 6 steps to success.
Let's do it.
First one, numero uno.
I'm excited.
Spanish, right?
I'm excited. I hope you know Uno. We already gone through a few episodes.
Yeah, Uno is kind of easy. My kid knows that.
You play Uno.
So let me give you the steps, and then we'll retract and we'll go through them. So the first one is to make exact goals. The second one is to identify what are you going to give back in result of this goal. The third step is to set a definite date. Can't wait to get there. Fourth one, create a definite plan. Fifth one is to create statements that are congruent with that plan. And the fifth one is to read the statements aloud. And the last step is to have an obsession. Okay, so as you heard that, before we get into the explanation, tell me your thoughts on how that flow is so far. How do you see yourself, like the direction on where we're going today?
Well, it's excellent because I've actually none of those are foreign, right? Even though I haven't read the book, none of those have been foreign because I've kind of learned it already through mentorship. I just didn't actually know it was derived from this book. So it's actually pretty cool to listen to that came from that piece. And every step that you said, I was already plugging in, all right, what am I doing already to achieve that step, that exact one?
That's good. So the reason I'm sorry, guys, I'm using Jeff today.
Use me. Use me and abuse me.
Yes, use and abuse. So the reason why I want you guys to see this is because Jeff was able to change his life around when he made a decision to, let's just say, allow himself more freedoms,
Mhm.
okay, financially and time wise. Okay, so what the first step in anything that you do, put so much effort into this, is that you have to make specific goals. Why is it important to be specific? Because the more clear you are, the more confident you're going to be. That way, it won't deter you from making moves to accomplishing that. So, make an exact goal. When you make goals, like when we say exact, how exact should they be on making a goal?
You should have the date. You should have what it is you're trying to accomplish. So this goal should be accomplished by this, and you will have this, or I will achieve this by whatever day you're saying. You know, it's crazy because I taught special ed, as most of you guys know, and when you have to write what's called IEPs, individual reports for these students, you have to set SMART goals for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they have to meet the goal by the following year that we meet up with their parents. And they would literally say, I don't want to say student names, but little Mark will be able to read A, B, and C's by measuring this work on date, blah, blah, blah.
That's interesting. You use that in the teaching space.
You have to. It's actually law.
Really?
Yeah.
I just learned something.
Yeah, for IEPs, it's actually law. You have to write your goals. Like when you go get your credential for special education, you are taught to write the goal a certain way because it has to be measurable. It has to have a date. It has to say how is it going to be measured, all that good stuff. Yeah.
Okay, so you're going to get ready to lead us into point two. But before we do that, when you make goals, they have to be exact. So let me give you an idea. Most people, they make meaningless goals because it just sounds good.
Yeah, they're vague too.
Okay,
Yeah.
so best case scenario is losing weight. Most people, they say, at this point in time, I'm going to lose this weight. And then after 30, 40, 60 days in the gym, they're never there again. And the reason why is because they never had a clear goal. So let me give you an example. You'll notice that the person who goes into the gym January 1st and walks in there and says, I have a goal to lose 15 pounds, they're typically there, as long as they're doing the work, they're typically there February 1st, moving forward. The gym in itself typically has an added member, but the person who is not clear on that goal, they generally fall off. Now, where do you see most people fail in this area of maybe in business, they're getting ready to start something that they've never done before? Give us an example in your mind in terms of the psychological aspect of like the subconscious mind that determines success. What are they not activating?
I think they're not activating the specificity.
Oh, you say that again?
The specificity.
About that, but
I know, I can barely say it. But they're not being very specific about it. When you're not being very specific about something, it's very hard for your mind to actually work in the sense of it becoming obsessed.
Yeah.
Right? So it's kind of hard when you're saying, okay, you want to make 100,000. Okay, by when? Like, give me a date, because now you are putting a little pressure on yourself to make sure you achieve it by this. If you just say, I want to make 100,000. Okay, well, I mean, give me more. There's a chance you're not going to meet that because one, you don't have a date by when you're going to achieve it. So you're just kind of going at it aimlessly. Two, how are you going to achieve it? You haven't told yourself how you're going to do that. If you don't know the system in place, is it really a goal or is it just a dream? So you have to really be specific and know how you're going to achieve it. That's why I think your example of the weight loss, right? If you really notice, it's the people that have a training plan. They want to lose the 15 pounds by this date. And once they achieve that goal, they feel good. So what do? They keep doing it because it wasn't so much the goal. They just switched their identity. So that person that's becoming fit is who they became.
I like what you said because there's a proper preparation in that, because when you get clear, what generally happens is you become more attached to a goal.
Very.
You become more. So if you wanted to make $1 million listening to this, I mean, it's very clear that you'd have to make $83,333.33 12 months out of a year. And then you could take that 83,000 and break that down by the 4 weeks that are in a month. And then From there, you'd have to find out what would allow you to make whatever that number is to amount to that number to amount to the $1 million. And the clearer you are on that, the easier it is to say, this is what I'm going to do.
I can see where the 3 feet from gold comes from.
Right there.
Makes sense.
Right there. So step 2. So you got step 1, be clear. Be very specific on what you want. Specificity. That's how you say it.
Specificity. Oh, I said it. There you go. Specificity.
All right. Here's the foolish step in this one. Step 2.
Okay.
Is most people believe in this thing called something for nothing. Okay.
Yeah.
So
that one's it.
Yeah, it's unbelievable how many people think that just because they come up with a number. I've had agents in the past who tell me some outrageous goals, and I love that because it's a magic thinking big.
Mm-hmm.
But there is something that you have to understand, which is step 2, which is what are you going to give in result for this goal? So let's say that goal is a better physique, better relationship, better just money, just in general, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when you hear that there's the term of there's the something for nothing, in the accumulation of anything, give us some background. I know you taught kids, and maybe right now we're teaching parents or teaching parents financial literacy, or maybe you teach a dog or something like that, the household. When people show up, give us some example of, hey, we're here, there we go, whatever, and then they leave out. Do you have any case like background on something for another idea?
Yeah, I think it happens a lot. I'll stick with dog training for right now, and I can even give one in the education sample. So the idea of expecting something but giving nothing.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's stick in the dog training portion. I always say our business is focused on training owners, not dogs. Here's why. A lot of people tend to blame their dogs for X, Y, and Z behavior, but they don't realize they're the ones that are really causing the behavior, whether it's indirectly or directly. They may not know it. Now, here's the catch. I always tell them when they kind of come to us, like, okay, look, I can definitely help you with your issues, but you're going to have to give. Like, you have to change the way you own your dog. Some people understand that, and they come to me full-heartedly, and they're like, hey, you know what? It's me, train me. I understand. I want to learn. And then there's the other people like, well, no, I want you to change the dog. Change the dog. Like, they need to change, not me. They're expecting something but willing to give up nothing. It doesn't work that way.
They think it's just a magic
Mm-hmm.
wand,
It doesn't work.
a certain dog collar you can use,
Yeah,
or something like that.
It doesn't work.
What if we switch the dog food, and then the dog would do this, right?
Yep. It happens all the time. I'll give you an example in the teaching industry. I have a lot of parents. This happened a lot during the pandemic. Certain kids wouldn't show up to class, for example. Certain kids weren't doing their homework. We would set up parent conferences. The parents would miss parent conference.
Yeah.
I remember I had a mom that was just MIA, and she showed up finally after 7 months. We're 7 months into the school year. Mind you, there's 3 months left in the school year. And this parent told me, I need you to help me help my daughter finish all her work. And I'm like, wait, how do you want me to do that? She's missing 7 months of work. I don't know. You're the teacher. Figure it out. So I was like, so you're expecting everything, but willing to do nothing because you've been MIA this whole time. So it's that idea that hinders people from actually achieving something. Because if there was a little give, we'd be great,
Man, I have something to share on that because I coach, I develop a lot of people in the entrepreneurial space. And I think this is a code red for most of us, is that everybody wants to go to heaven, but nobody's willing to die. Mm-hmm. Which means there's something that has to come in place of you wanting something. And here's the catch. You want the lifestyle, you want the glory, you got to go through the story. And a part of that story is to understand that you must sacrifice something in exchange for that. That's something bigger, You may hear it in this term. New level, new devil, right? You're going to have to give up, the old version of you to relinquish the old version of you to have the better version of you. So,
it's crazy because I think a lot of people fail to realize that sometimes it's not just giving up money. Yeah, like, right. Maybe it might be money. Maybe it might be time. Maybe it might be sacrificing that, that hour from your family because you have to go build the dream for your family. I don't know, but you have to give up something in order to get something. You can't have your cake and eat it.
I'm glad you said that because it's right. It's not money. Sometimes it's not time. Maybe it's humility. Maybe it's ego. What you think about that?
It very well. I mean, some people are built on ego, so yeah, sometimes just giving it up a little bit and just like, I have to sacrifice the way I feel. That's leadership, though, right? That's literally leadership to a T. When you can just kind of sit back and be like, yeah, you're right, even though you may not believe it, but sometimes you can lose that battle, but you end up winning the war.
Man, I have so many examples on this, and I think that we can exercise all of these. But if you're listening to us right now, again, stop, go back, listen to the tape, listen to the recording, and just see where you identify.
Mhm.
Because I know listen, if you're listening to this, you want something bigger. You want a better lifestyle. You want a sharper mind. You want to be, at least the association of what we're talking about. We're all in the same playing field right now, right? Just take this as not something that's new, but a reset. Like just press the reset button. You may have been aimed at a goal and it may have been clear at one point and then it became foggy. And then you said to yourself, okay, I want to get back on the grind. I want to get back to that straight line of
Right.
success.
Yeah.
I want this to be that. But you forgot step 2, which was, okay, same rule applies. You have to go and give something up. Maybe you have to give up the ego to go ask a mentor or go chase after somebody who's doing better than you
That was so good.
to just achieve greatness. I mean, again, this is everybody wants it until it's time to do it.
Yeah.
Everybody
Couldn't have
does.
said better. Yeah.
It does. So step 2. So we've covered 1, 2, 3 is where you're going to come in because you mentioned it earlier without even knowing. Here's the cool thing. You already know the principles. They just haven't been lined for you. So the third one is to set a definite date. Like not a date to take you out to the field or, like restaurant or something like that, with your sweetie, but you have to set a definite date. So when you establish a definite date and when you intend to possess what goal you want to, what is the date? What is the time stamp? What does that do to a goal, in your opinion?
Well, one, it solidifies that we have a deadline to meet. Deadlines are important. We're humans. We live by deadlines. It's the same reason why, some of us procrastinate and you hear kind of that one thing where you work a little bit under pressure. It's because that's just human nature. So when you set a date, and if you're one of those people that, stays true to what you tell yourself, you're going to want to meet that date. Hell or high water,
Yeah.
some way, somehow, let me figure it out. Let me try to meet that deadline because you set that Kobe famously says it. When you set that contract with yourself, you signing it. There is no if, and, or but. He's gonna do it. And if people took that same approach to things, man, your confidence will go through the roof because confidence all comes from the promises you keep to yourself. And if you can keep that date that you set on your goal and you tried your best to at least meet it, you're gonna be much further ahead than the person that just goes through life aimlessly.
Yeah, let me piggyback on that because again, with time, if you don't create more urgency, then you'll end up with more emergencies in your life. I'm a firm believer of that. Especially if you find yourself somebody that's going somewhere and you're going somewhere fast. You don't have the time to say, you know what, I got the next 40 years, doing 40 hours a week of, exchanging my time for other people's money.
And I want to say something that we actually heard the other day that really stuck with me. Be patient with people, but impatient with your goals.
Very true. Very true. So when you talked about setting that definite date and again having that urgency, you mentioned something called SMART goal.
Mhm.
Do you remember the acronym for that?
Ah, damn.
I'm gonna help you.
Yeah, help me out because I don't.
So number 1 is specific.
Okay.
Okay. So SMART, SMART.
Mhm.
There you go.
M is measurable.
Yep.
A is
Achievable.
R is
relevant.
okay.
And then T is time bound.
Yeah, that was time. Yeah.
So here's an example. I want to make $1,231,000.64 by December 31st, 2022. See that example? So we put a date on it. We were very clear on what we wanted. Number 1, we made an exact goal. Okay. We are willing to, we haven't gotten to the part about what you're willing to render, what you're willing to exchange. So you want to exchange your time. Maybe you watch too much Netflix. Maybe you're catching up on, the NBA right now that's going on. Maybe you want to exchange that. And maybe it doesn't have to be that. Maybe you work out and you're crazy about that. Maybe it's an exchange of, hey, I maybe cut down 30 minutes to go build my 5 to 9 versus work so much in my 9 to 5. And then you have to put a date on it. So December 31st, 2022. And here's what it does is that the universe goes and conspires for you when you begin to do this. When you say, I want this by then, hey, what happens if you don't achieve that goal, but you get 70% along the way?
Further ahead.
You're much further ahead than what you were currently doing. I'm one to believe that the world will change at some point through your innovation, through your ability to take control of your time. I think that you'll free the world and you'll make the world a lot better place. So, AKA, that's entrepreneurship for you guys who are guessing. The subliminal message. There you go. So, setting a definite date.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously important. But okay, so far, leading up into step number 4, we talked about make the goal. What are you willing to give up?
Mm-hmm.
We got a date, but we don't have a plan. So the fourth one is to create a definite plan. So that's talking about a definite plan. We talk a lot about, what we're going to do, the executables and stuff like that. What is that? So I don't know, walk me through the journey of the way that Jeff processes a plan and, whether it's big goals, set a goal, whatever that is. Walk me through your process on that.
Well, first it starts with setting the goal, right? Once the goal's there, whatever the idea is, you kind of set it. Now the next thing is how are we going to achieve it? So a lot of people call it a business plan, right? A lot of people just call it plans in general, but there's steps and everything. It has to create a system for you. Like what are you going to do each and every day that if you know, okay, well, I didn't reach it. Well, take a look back at your plan. What did you do? What can you tweak? Because let's say you failed. Okay, well, you learn from that failure. What's missing in my plan? What do I need to add to that plan? Whatever's in place for that plan should help you achieve that goal. If you don't, that's also where you have to give something up. Maybe you go ask the mentor, hey, you've been through this before. Take a look at my plan. What do I need to change? I've done that many times where I've kind of reached out to other people like, hey, I need you to take a look at this. What would you change? What would you do differently from your experience? Things of that nature. So yeah, I think the plan is everything. Without the plan, it's very hard to achieve much of anything at that point. At that point, you're just getting lucky.
Yeah. It's almost like accidentally hitting a target that you're not aiming at.
And you start wondering like how much faster you could have hit that target if you would have had the plan in place.
Absolutely. Hip firing versus, being a marksman for your goals.
Right.
Last thing I ever want is to build somebody else's dream because I didn't create one of my own. I didn't make one of my own. And that comes through definiteness of a plan. So ready or not, go. Ready or not, got to create a plan. You can modify the plan as you go. Most people, they'll say that you need a 5-year plan. Why? I mean, okay, that's great. You need a 20-year plan. That's awesome. But start someplace, chunk it. They say the best way to eat an elephant, one bite at a time.
Right.
So you have to start someplace before you start attacking the larger portions of life and the plan. And here's the other thing about the plan. Do you think we're going to have bad days?
Always.
We are. Guess what that plan does? That plan now becomes the manager, becomes the boss of your life. So ready or not, here you go. Here's the plan. You have to do it because you put it. This is your goal. This is what you want to do. And make sure you put that plan next to you. What's crazy is that my goals are written down everywhere in my house.
Yeah, you've told me that. You even showed us that.
Yeah, they're on my refrigerator. I have in my man cave, I keep a what do they call it? Like the little whiteboards. I have Post-it notes on my mirror. I have it next to my bed. There's a lady in our business. She is phenomenal. And she's really big on planning. And I just love that. Like I've learned a lot through her because she works well through the manifestation of her plans. And she just inspires me to continue with, sharpening my plan daily. So that's 4. How you feel about the first 4 so far?
Great. I mean, they make sense.
Okay.
I love it.
So right now, listen, you guys getting some value? Yeah? Okay. Yes or yes? Yes. Okay, awesome. So make sure you guys click, like, subscribe, all of that great stuff. Don't forget, there's a subscribe button if you're on YouTube. If not, then just, subscribe to our channel some way, somehow, whatever platform you're on right now, right? So we have to definitely stop for that. So we are coming into the home stretch because we have 2 more that, again, this next one is my favorite one because this is where I say that emotion creates motion in your life. So the next plan, number 5, is to create statements. So when we create statements, I haven't defined that for you yet, and we haven't defined that for the audience. But when we say create statements, what does that mean to you?
I take it as affirmations. At least
Absolutely.
that's how I take it for me. That's why when we were going over this at the very beginning, you were like, "Oh, you started seeing the steps." When I heard that one, I was like, "Oh, that affirmations. I read those in the morning." Got it. So that's how I took it. Yeah.
And you know what? It's so funny that we're on the same page because this is exactly what we discussed because your obsessions will become your possessions. And what you don't hate, you will tolerate. So let me explain to both of those. So what you're going to obsess over, right? What you have in front of you is essentially what you end up becoming. You know, I want you to pay attention to most people who watch reality shows. Most of them, they obsess over the looks, the glamour, the aesthetics of life. Nothing wrong with that. But again, that's what you obsess on. So that's what you end up possessing. But then again, if you don't eventually hate that, you're going to end up tolerating where you are. And let me give you the example. You're busy watching those people and you're busy watching them make it happen and you're not making it in your life. So statements for me are affirmations, as you said. Do you have any affirmations right now?
One of them is I am the GROAT.
I am the GROAT or GOAT?
GROAT.
GROAT, what's that?
The greatest recruiter of all time.
Oh, I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
So that translates to our business. So I have a ton of them. I wake up with them. My kids were very big on this with affirmations every single day. And a lot of that came from dad. Shout out to my babies. They're not babies, they big kids now.
Yeah.
But they still my babies. But we wake up every day. I say to myself every morning, I'm the greatest father. I'm the greatest business person. I'm a money magnet. I'm a monster off the leash. Who can identify with some of those right now, right?
Monster off the leash.
I get juiced up every time I say it, right? I'm the best recruiter, right? In this time, I'm not gonna, go through that. But I'll say this day, this time, I'll possess this in my possession for exchanging this. So what I'm telling you today is something that I believe has worked, and I've been doing this for the greater part of the last 3.5 years. And it's truly been the most uplifting thing. So again, when you create statements, let me give you 3 things. Number 1, write clear and concise statements that you intend to acquire. Okay. So I don't know. What's an example for that one?
Statements that you intend to acquire?
Yep. Concise statements.
Yeah, things that you actually want, that you plan to do. You shouldn't just make a statement just to say it. It's kind of pointless at that point. It's something that you actually truly believe you can get. 2, and you know what? Scratch that. Even if you don't feel like you can truly get it, you say it to yourself enough times, your mind is going to believe you, right? So that's what I think. And you make it concise, be very specific about it. You'd be surprised.
That's so good, bro. That's so good because you moved it transitioned to the next point because when you say something, it eventually happens.
It does.
And words have power. So this power that's happening right now is the second point is when you write down your goals, don't just do it once. The second point is to write them down every single day. Now, notice I said write, not type, okay? Because words, they have power, and power comes from emotionally putting a pen to a paper. Don't ever feel don't feel like you can't get too old school at times, right? Because there's there's power in words and writing these goals down every single day, okay? And then what this does, number 3, is that this activates your subconscious mind every time you write your goals.
Yeah, I don't think people realize how powerful that is.
It is.
I mean, if you guys don't really realize how powerful your subconscious mind, let me give you guys an example I think we all can relate with. If you're ever looking at a car, for example, right, and you see this specific yellow car that you fall in love with, you want to buy it. Yep. You end up seeing that car, whether it's yellow or whatever, you end up seeing that car everywhere. Why? Because your mind now has been told to look for that car. It's the same thing that starts happening with your goals. You start telling yourself that you're looking for this exact specific thing. Guess what? The world is going to start, you're going to start focusing on it. Your mind's going to find exactly what it is you're looking for. It's so powerful.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, right now, I'll say, okay, hey, everybody, tell me everything that is brown in the room. Okay, we know. So you got it? You found everything that was brown? Now, watch this. What's yellow? Again, whatever your mind is focused on, that's what is exactly what it's going to return. So wouldn't you think that it would work the same way if you start putting the things in your mind that would help you get to the level of success on what you want to achieve? That would make sense, right? So
perfect sense.
That is statement. So that's number 5. Along with that is, when you do, again, I think I should mention that when you do put your statements down, right? Putting your ideas down on a piece of paper is the first step of realization of your desire.
Mhm.
And this thought is fleeting unless it becomes a desire and is written down so that your subconscious mind can start going to work. Man, I could get into a whole lesson on the subconscious mind. We'll save that to another day. But your subconscious mind is working with or without you. It's sort of like your respiratory system, your breathing
Programmed.
is just happening.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to start feeding your mind these positive things because your subconscious mind is this heat-seeking missile, and all it wants to do is destroy the things that you put in its way. Doesn't that work for bad things as well?
Completely. I mean, think about it. If you're feeding you're feeding your subconscious mind the bad things, guess what? You're gonna start seeing the bad things too. It's gonna start focusing on that as well. It works the exact same way.
It is. So did you catch that? It works both ways.
It does.
So check right now. Ask yourself: are you feeding yourself good? Or are you feeding yourself bad? Good seeds, bad seeds are really important because I hear my friends sometimes. They say they just want to earn enough money to pay their bills.
Mm-hmm.
They want to earn some money, left over for retirement. But sadly, here's what happens: the subconscious mind, what it does is that it's gonna latch on to self-limiting beliefs, and then what it's gonna do is that it's gonna produce those exact results.
Exactly enough.
Exactly. So again, create these statements. So let's land the plane here.
Land it
with statement number 5. Statement number 5 is that did I say 5? No, this is 6.
6. Yeah.
So 6 is that you have to become obsessed with your goals.
Mm-hmm.
You have to become so obsessed. And here's the written rule: is that you must write your statements and read them aloud twice a day at least, in the morning and in the evening, because you're telling yourself good things when you wake up. That way you're riding on the positivity, and then you tell yourself good things before you go to bed. Have you heard that before?
I have actually, but I haven't been doing it both times. I only do it in the morning. So I mean, I guess I got to start doing it at night too.
Oh yeah. So it's really good because what it does is that seeing is believing, and your mind is just going to obsess over it over time. It's just going to obsess over it. We often state that, what you were just mentioning, whatever color, car, make, model that you have,
right.
You're naturally going to see that. Now that car can be on the road for many years,
but you never notice it until you pay attention for it.
Exactly.
Damn.
Goals are the same way. Goals are the same exact way. So when we talk about obsession, you got to get crazy with your goals. I remember when I was telling my mother I was going to be a particular position in my firm when I first started. Everybody laughed at me. Everybody laughed at me because I knew this is what I wanted to do. I knew that this is where I was going to be planting my flag because I knew the freedom that it would give me, not financially, but the time to have, because I know I wanted to be a family man. So I was so obsessed in being in the financial industry. And we would get up sometimes and we would do like recognition sessions. If you've ever seen Wolf of Wall Street, kind of like that.
Yeah.
It's kind of fun. And this was before Zoom. And I remember I got up there and told everybody what my goals were. And did you know that probably 95% of that room, they laughed at me that day? And I set the goal in March, and I said by July, I'm going to be this particular position. July rolls around, they weren't laughing anymore. Now, I wasn't that position. I was the position right below that. But here's what ended up happening. I became so obsessed. And then what ended up happening is that if you guys pay attention to these 6 steps, your idols can become your rivals. Because we're just doing the work that nobody else is doing. And when I say we, I want to include you listeners right now. If you just do the work that people are not willing to do, here's what eventually happens. The people you were calling big homie or coach or mentor, guess what? Starts to exchange pretty quickly, just like that, right? So crazy people, they win too. So those are the 6 steps in terms of reaching success. Sounds very simple, very minimalistic, but if you follow these steps, by the way, this is Napoleon Hill.
Yeah.
I mean, he's like the author and finisher of business books.
Got to read that book now.
Man, you really do have to read that book. It's a good book. I've probably read the book maybe 5 times now. Maybe 5, maybe 6 times. But those are the 6 steps. So again, make sure you make your goals. Make sure you understand what you're going to give. Set that date. Create that plan. Create the statements. And then just get crazy over your goals. get really crazy of your goals. So, episode 8 is coming to a close.
It is.
It is.
I'm going to tell you guys right now, man. Obviously, you guys know that I didn't read the book, so I'll hold myself accountable. I'll actually read the book. So that's one. Two, I even mentioned that I wasn't reading the affirmations at night, so I'm going to start doing that. So in the next couple months, watch the business pick up.
It will, and,
Oh, it damn will,
you'll
right?
see it. You'll see it because here's what I know about you: is that you're a man of your word. You do it, and then you turn around, and then people are going to be so inspired by you putting that to action. They're going to say, "Man, that works." So you're going to be a walking, talking example.
That's the goal, people.
And
Stay tuned.
It's so fun to watch. So episode 8 is coming to an end. Hey, don't forget to like, share some more, share with your mother, comment, subscribe. All platforms available. We are looking to grow with you. Again, let me remind you, we're content that's created for the needs of real people, built by real people, just like you. So I'll let you land the plane, brother.
That's it, guys. So we are coming to a nice soft landing. Episode 8 is in the books. Stay tuned for episode 9. We have something real big coming. But that is massive. I'm just going to stop right there. Love, peace, guys.
All right now.